Welcome back to Self Revelations. It's your boy B-Dav.
And I am Juan Moreno.
Wanavelli, brother, how you been? How's everything been going this past couple weeks?
It's been going good, man. Just a lot of like testing my ideas, like trying to see if that's truly how I feel. So a lot of things I've been working through, especially with like relationships, whether it's like spouse or your friends or your family or coworkers, is like trying to see if that original idea that you have in your head, is that really true? So, because you're only so limited, like what you have in your mind. So you can only work with from your experiences or like the current moment or from what you see and your perception. So sometimes you have to like seek out. I think sometimes also it's not like you do it on purpose, at least for myself. Like I'll like listen to podcasts just naturally, just like, oh, I want to listen to a podcast with like Jay Shetty or an interview with Nipsey Hussle or, you know, Tony Robbins. Like certain people I want to just I gravitate towards too when it comes to like development, like self-development. And naturally, I'll find the answers within those videos or a book that I read or hear, whether it's audio or an interview or podcast. And it'll test that idea like, oh, is that truly how you feel? Or is it something that you're missing? It's like one thing I realized was within a relationship that you try to judge somebody based off your strengths when they have strengths that, you know, complement your weaknesses. Mm-hmm. So, and it was like, damn, because I was thinking that, oh, I'm doing too much in a relationship. I'm investing too much in whatever person and I'm not getting nothing back. But then you fail to realize like, well, they're also actually helping you with their strengths and your weaknesses, whether if it's being present in the moment or trying to be the best version of yourself and try to simplify things. Like they'll bring that to you within their strengths. So like that's one of the things that I've like been working on lately.
Yeah. And you noticing that like, okay, like they might be helping me with some of the things that I need to work on. You know what I mean? That's a critical point for sure. And it's okay to have those feelings. You know, we talked a little bit about that before, you know, we got on the podcast, but you know, that's most definitely like something that you can analyze and talk about, like, you know, have that open communication, like, hey, I'm feeling like this, you know, but when you sit back and actually look at it like, okay, this person's actions are helping me deal with this part in my life or this part of me in a relationship, you know what I mean? So that all has value in it.
Yeah, 100% too. I think that's some of the things we fail to realize is like, oh, you don't have all the answers. You don't have all the answers, Sway. Like sometimes you gotta like take the time to like think that you're not gonna know everything, and sometimes your thoughts are not gonna be fully accurate. So I think you have to like do research and like look and see and test the ideas, because if you don't test the ideas, sometimes you get poor results. And I think at times that you want to make your best judgment, so you want to look outside, look inside, and try to see like before you act, like is this truly true?
Yeah, fact. And what do you feel like in a relationship? Now that we're on the topic, in a relationship, what do you think your strong points are for yourself? And what do you think some of your weak points might be?
I think it's like some of my strong points for me is like the awareness of my intentions and like the purpose of what I'm trying to get done. Like if I'm here to go to the grocery store, I'm here to get these things and get the fuck out. Like I don't want to talk about anything else. I don't want to look and walk down that ice cream aisle. Like I just want to go straight to the fruits and veggies and get this water and get the fuck out. I don't want to look at anything else. But then sometimes that could be a weakness too. It's like you want to enjoy the moment. Like, you know, like you have a lot of funny stories in a grocery store. So like it's like you either bump into somebody that you haven't seen in a while, or you have a conversation with a stranger that could be an open network for opportunity to work. So stuff like that is like one of my weaknesses. Is like I'm very purposeful in everything I do. My movements, the way I walk, the way I talk, the way I move, the way I breathe, even that. Like I try to be like very strategic of like my energy and like try to be fully optimal. But sometimes that kind of keeps me away from being at the moment. So like one of my weaknesses that I feel is like not being in the moment more, because I feel that there's a lot of great things that come within being in the moment. So that's one of the weaknesses that I tend to not cater too much, because I'm so hyper focused on like getting the result or getting this done. Anything else doesn't matter. But sometimes that keeps me away from like smelling the flowers. So that's like for sure one of the things.
And is it the same thing for like your goals? When you're setting your goals, it's hard for you to like enjoy the time that you're in now versus like, okay, 5 years down the line, I want to have this house, I want to do this, I want to do that. But right now, the process and the grind that you have to put in to get there, it's like you can't really accept it in a way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I feel like that's why it's hard for me like to smell the roses or take a compliment because I feel like, oh, I'm not even done yet. Like I'm still, like I'm not even at my full potential, and I might not ever get to that. But I'm like chasing that. Like I feel like I can always get better, and always improve. But that also keeps me sometimes judging myself a little bit too much. It's not actually detrimental. I think it's kind of healthy. I realize right now. But that's what keeps me going, though. That's what I keep excelling in all these different things and like learning and like developing ideas and perspectives that help not only myself but other people. But a lot of the times also it does cause me to sometimes stress out because I'm not there yet, or some person would be like, "Oh, you're good where you're at," and stuff like that, and you don't enjoy the moment. You're doing good, and my mind's like, "Fuck that!"
Yeah.
Like you're not where you want to be. And that pushes me though. That's what keeps me going. But sometimes you have to sometimes it's okay to sit down and watch TV all day. One of the days out of the whole month or a week for you to just decompress.
Or any way that you have to decompress. Yeah, that's for sure. And it was hard, like as an athlete or as someone who is always on the go. You know what I'm saying? Like doing that, like we already have the thing in our head, like no days off. Like you got to be grinding. Like there's no time to sit. Like and all the processes. Like whether if you're in high school or you're in college trying to go pro, or if you're pro trying to go to the next level. You know what I mean? Like it's always like it's like that voice in the back of your head. It's like get your lazy ass up. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But no, it's okay. Like if you have to take a mental day, if you have to take a day to where like, okay, this week is beat the hell out of me. I need to mellow out. Like let me go to the pool. Let me go swim at the pool. Let me go read. Let me lay down with no noise playing, or let me listen to music. You know what I mean? For the next hour. You know, it's fine. Turn off your phone. Go to the grocery store and leave your phone at home. You know what I mean? Like there's stuff like that you can do to decompress. And it was hard for me, like, you know, in high school and going into college, like doing that and like listening to your body too, you know, with lifting, and you're like, oh man, I'm banged up on my shoulder, my knee, my back. But I got to go lift today. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't make sense. Like your body tells you what it needs. Your mind tells you what it needs. You know what I mean? Like listen to it at the end of the day.
Yeah, and that's one thing. That's completely true, and that's how I kind of like evaluate myself, whether I need to either cleanse myself, do a fast, or I need to improve in something, or there's something that I'm lacking, so I need to go work out or take it serious or develop a more deeper meaning behind of trying to be fully optimal. And sometimes that causes like a lot of awareness for me to be aware, and it makes me like do those drastic changes to the other person. Like people be surprised, like I'll do a fast for like 5 days, you know, Monday to Friday, and not eat no food, like no solid foods, like nothing that's processed, no dairy, no meat, no starch foods, like no nothing. I will literally just, you know, drink water, take some herb supplements. Now it's a smoothie, like a good 16 ounce or 24 ounces of a smoothie, and that's it. And to other people that seems like hella hard, but to me it's like, you know, I tapped into my body. I know something's up, like something I'm imbalanced, whether it is stress. Majority for me, I feel like it's stress and your thoughts. So like the mind and the body and the body and the mind work in sync. So like the foods that you intake in your stomach is kind of like the way you think. So if you have the idea like you like to eat pork a lot, and then if you realize like some of the stages that a pig goes through before it gets, you know, butchered is fear, anxiety, fear of death, and they're not the most cleanest animals. So like you are eating something that kind of creates your thought inside your mind too. So you eat a pig that's fearful, not dirty. I mean, that's dirty and not the most cleanest animal, and you're eating that. Imagine how your thought process is going to be. And I have to be like, I'm super aware too. So like, I'm always like, right now, honestly, I'm about to get up and go check that I'm recording for sure. So give me 1 second.
No, I definitely hear how you feel. And, you know, with, with you talking about, the fasting, that's another thing that like I wanted to dig into that and talk about that a little bit more, because as we were talking a little bit earlier, while we were taking our shots at Don Julio,
Shout out.
but yeah, shout out Don Julio.
Sponsor.
Um, one of the things that you talked about, you're like, bro, this is the best I've ever felt. You know what I mean? And it's like, okay, because my first reaction was like, damn, he lost a lot of weight. Like, he looks good. Like, yeah. But I'm like, he's been doing the fasting. He's been taking his, not ashwagandha. You've been taking your
supplements,
your
like
sea moss. You've been talking to your sea moss and different stuff to clear out your digestive system. And you're taking care of your body and doing the proper flushes that you should be doing. So, with digging into that, like, how has that helped you mentally? Like cleaning out your body, focusing on like yourself, fasting. How is that? Is that making you more mentally focused, or how is that for you and you chasing your goals?
Yeah, with fasting, it's like one of the most best disciplines I've ever learned. Like, that's one of the things that I excel at, which is hard for somebody to like give up those type of, good foods, good tasting foods, but that's not good for you health wise. I think fasting gave me the clarity that I need to stay hyper focused into my goals, and then eliminate any ideas of wasted energy towards like foods or people, and like creating that discipline within myself that, I can stop eating a certain food that I love for a certain amount of days and be disciplined in that. It's kind of like how people who like Ramadan and stuff like that. I think it's like more of a deeper purpose of not only not eating, but it's like the discipline that comes with it. So it's like knowing that you have that confidence to like be able to control yourself. You're able to, like, you're in control. Like, the food isn't in control. The stress isn't in control. The emotions aren't in control, but you are. I think that's one of the best things that I get with fasting, and also supplementing correctly. Like, you don't want to you kind of want to work your way to a fast, like water fast only, and while taking your supplements slowly and directly. And I think you need to do your proper research, or even talk to your doctor before you do something like this, just in case, like, if you have any doubt. If you have doubt, seek, a doctor's, recommendation before you get into it. But me, I don't give a fuck. So, like, I am, like, mind over matter, which, helps me excel and able to do these type of things. And when times get tough, fasting is not easy. Like, fasting is difficult, like, especially when you're going through the impulsive reactions of wanting to eat based off of stress or habit of a certain food. Like, that's not easy. It's hard mentally, and you're gonna get feeling those sensations of like your stomach growling because you're hungry. You're not starving, you're just hungry off of like habit and the way your body has developed. But that only lasts for like 3 minutes. Like, you're hungry, your stomach's like for 3 to 5 minutes, and then it goes away. But that's why it's important to drink water, spring water. You don't really want to drink like tap water. That's one thing I've been realizing. I try to like be fully optimal in like what I eat, what I drink, and then also see myself how I feel. Like, for me, it's like I'm not trying to chase a look. I'm trying to chase a feeling. If I feel tremendous at 160 pounds and I look skinny as hell, I'm good with that. You know what I mean? Like, if I want to work out and implement, strength training, then I go do that. And that's all I'm really doing with fasting. Is like one of the best disciplines for the mind.
Yeah, facts. Because the mental is probably one of the most critical things that you can work on. You know what I mean? You can, it's easy to walk into the gym and throw up weight and do all this and that, but if you're leaving and you're not taking care of what you're putting into your body, you're not getting the proper sleep, you're not in the proper headspace, you're dealing with shit, you're stressing, you're gonna be a mess. You know what I mean? So like, fasting, that's something I've done intermediate fasting. So when I was trying to gain weight and I was trying to cut out a lot of bad food, what I would basically do is I wouldn't eat anything before 12 o'clock. So up until 12 o'clock, I would just drink my water. I'd go work out in the mornings. Felt phenomenal. I love working out on an empty stomach. Haven't really done a lot of research on it, but I love working on an empty stomach. I feel great. But like, I would eat at 12. I would have my first meal, and I'd eat as much as I want up until 7 o'clock. Once it hits 7 o'clock, I don't have any more food. Flush out my system, go to the bathroom, drink a lot of water before bed, knock out around 9:30, 10. Next day, do the exact same thing. But I try to make sure I get at least 3-4 meals within that time. You know what I mean? So my body has time to digest, you know, and I can flush out everything like that I need to flush out. And I felt amazing while I was doing it. I did it for about 4 months, and I got into a routine to where like even now it's hard for me to eat breakfast because I did that. You know what I'm saying? But I feel so good. Like, you know, I know it's not like people tell me like, oh yeah, bro, you should always eat something, have breakfast, eat something, even if it's just fruit, like anything. Like I understand that, but I don't like. I just feel like you said, like how you trace that feeling. I like the feeling of not eating anything in the morning and drinking my fluids, waters, Gatorades, and going to get a workout in or going to get some cardio in. You know what I mean? It's just like it feels better for me personally. You know what I mean?
Because people don't realize too, it's like the more times you eat in a day, the more your body's like working to like digest the food. So it's like just like an engine. So like the moment that you get a time to like fast, you let your body like be able to heal itself or work through and attack some of the bacteria, germs, diseases, cancer that's within every single human being, whether it's like damaged protein cells, and helps like throw away all those things that could potentially lead to like disease. Like people don't also know that with fasting. Like if you do your research on it and you look it up, there's a lot of good like research studies that show like the benefits of fasting when it comes to like longevity, mental clarity, digestive system, or even certain diseases. So that's one thing I learned too. It's like, oh, when you give your body a chance to like break down all the food and let it digest and eliminate all those like toxins out your body, the more clear you are to like your body's able to focus on like the cognitive features in your brain, like the executive mind in the front, like I believe it's like the frontal lobe cortex, I believe. Like it's able to like, you know, identify, register, and then help heal and cleanse, which is like, it sounds like such a like hippie word, like cleanse and like detox, and like the reason why I don't like saying those things is I feel like it takes away the real benefits like that's legit going on in your body when you fast. Like we're us humans weren't made to eat 4 or 5, 10 times a day. Like that's the reason why a lot of disease or obesity and a lot of problems happen, because especially the type of food you're eating though too, like that's critical. Like I think there's no problem with eating that much, but I think it's like, well, what are you eating that's that much? Like, you know, too much of anything can kill you. So it's like you have to be mindful of the food that you're intaking and be conscious of how you feel when you eat those foods. I think you should have like a cheat day. You know, you eat what you want on the weekends or whatever like that. That's kind of how my schedule is. Like I just stay disciplined in the weekdays I stay disciplined in the weekdays, and on the weekend I'll eat whatever I want.
Yeah, facts.
And that might not work for somebody, and it might. And sometimes you have to just figure out what works for you. I'm still working through this too, so it's like I haven't hit a stride yet. And sometimes I slip up. Sometimes I'll get home. I'm coming home from work after like a long, stressful day, and I might go stop by somewhere and get some food. Yeah. And I just don't try to be hard on myself. I just like eat that food, and then I register how I feel after. I'm like, this is exactly why you don't do this. Yeah. And that's how I learned. I'm like, okay, tomorrow we ain't doing that, because you know how this goes.
Because everyone's body is unique, you know, in its own way. Some people can work out for 3 days and get shredded. You know what I'm saying? 3 to 5 days and get shredded. You know what I mean? Or maintain their strength easily. But you know, with the eating, even the times that you eat can really affect you. Because I don't know if you ever ate. Have you ever ate like a lot of food right before bed, and then you wake up that next morning and you feel like you didn't even sleep? Yeah. It's because your body is working that whole time. It's breaking down that food. You know what I mean? Like the whole time you're sleeping, like you're not really getting the rest that you need. So that's why like that intermediate fasting, when I was doing that, bro, I felt phenomenal. I was sleeping like a baby, like, and I would always flush out my system right before I would go to sleep. So I stopped eating around like 7. And like 8, 9, like I can't go to sleep that early, but I'll go to the bathroom, whatever it may be, drink my water. And when I was going to sleep, I was sleeping like a baby, felt great. I was getting like 5 to 6 hours, but it felt like I was getting like 10. I felt great. And like my weight marks that I was trying to make, because I was trying to gain weight, and I was trying to like for the season basically. So I ended up getting to, I think, 220. No, I was trying to lose weight, but I think I ended up getting to like 215, 220. but I felt amazing. It was probably the best I felt other than right now.
Right. Yeah, and that's the important thing. Is like you want to listen to your body and do like what fits and what works with you. Like what works for you might not work for somebody else, and that's why I think it's important to like try to like seek outside knowledge and then be practical. It's kind of like you don't want to just read a bunch of books and listen to a whole bunch of podcasts and don't do nothing with that knowledge. Like it's meant for you to be practical and try to incorporate some of those ideas or those routines or those foods, and then see for yourself what works. Like if you don't use that knowledge, it's just wasted.
Everybody believe in Google. Everybody believe in YouTube. Go use that to your advantage. You know what I'm saying? Like if you ain't gonna use nothing else, use that shit to your advantage. Just like people get their whole programs, find a whole different way of living. Even TikTok, bro. You know how informational TikTok is, bro. Like cooking alone. Cause like I don't really know much about like cooking. Like it like you can type in a hashtag, it'll show you everything, even how to swim. Like you can type in anything and it'll be videos, 15-second videos to show you how to do whatever you're looking for. Or like say I have a question about editing, I'll go to the TikTok, type it in like, oh, how do I add this in Premiere Pro, and it'll be a whole video. So like, there's no question to, especially now, of like someone like, oh, I don't know how to do this. Bro, if you don't look that shit up, like this is we live in the easiest time to learn something or easiest time to make money. Like, bro, you better figure it out. You know what I'm saying? If you don't know something, if you don't know how to do something, like you genuinely aren't looking. Let's just be real.
Yeah, you're not trying hard enough too. That's why I always try to tell people, even my siblings or friends or anybody, it's like, oh, I don't know how to do this. And let's say I might not know. Like I'll either send them I'll share the link to a YouTube video, or I'm like, you got YouTube and Google that. Like you don't know how to change a tire? Go on Google. You can literally search your car, your make, and what you have in that trunk, and then change your tire. So like that's no excuse. Like I don't believe in like, oh, I don't know how, or like this and that. It's kind of like, okay, I understand you don't know how, but do you really want to know, or you're just seeking for somebody else to always do it for you? Because I'm that type of person, like, if you need help with something and you don't know how to do it, and you lack the capacity of searching from the outside and looking and researching, trying to find a solution, I'm going to go help you. But I'm going to bring your ass too, and I'm going to have you do everything while I'll walk you through it, because I never want to do this again for you. Now, you could look at that as selfish, lazy. I don't care. Like, I don't want to be the person you depend on to do something like the smallest thing, like changing a tire. Like, because I don't want to do that every time. I didn't want to do it the first time anyways. So, like, if anything, I'm going to set you up to do it the next time by yourself when it happens, so you can get it done, because it takes like 5 minutes to change your tire. 10 minutes the most if you have a struggle. But it's like, there's so much opportunity to grow within whatever you want to do, and you have all the answers and how to do's on YouTube and Google.
Yeah, facts. It's all there. You teach somebody how to do something, there's no excuse the next time. Like, bro, especially with the tire thing. Oh yeah, if I teach you how to change the tire, you better not call my head no more. I'm not coming up here.
Yeah, I don't want to hear nothing. And I understand too, because some people were never taught how to change a tire. Some people don't even know that you can go on Google and YouTube to actually find a way to do it. But it's like, now you know.
Yeah, facts.
I ain't doing it.
Yeah.
I ain't doing it.
I ain't doing
this.
Bro, my nephew, like, I know it's hella random, but my nephew, like, he would run out of gas, like, randomly, and he'd be like, oh, bro, I thought I could make it to the crib, like, come get me, or whatever he needed with his car, right? So I the last time I went to go help him, right, and mind you, he calls, like, at 3 o'clock at night. Like 3 a.m. So I pulled up on him last time. He had someone in his car or whatever. And I told him, I was like, hey, bro, like, so you know, like, I will never do this ever again, bro. Like, I'm just letting you know, like, I'm not bringing you any gas. I'm not doing anything. Like, you're going to have to figure it out next time. I don't care if you have to push your car. Yeah. And miraculously, he has not called me no more. This is like a year ago. I'm like, bro, see, you let people know, like, hey, bro, like, hey, I got you this time, but I'll teach you, or I'll bring you something. I'll help you out, but you gotta put some fucking gas in your car. You know what I'm saying? Like be responsible. You know, you have
to learn too. Like I had to learn that too, because I used to put like $20 every like week or every few days, and I end up always running out of gas almost. And I was like, you know what? Now I do it. Last few years, it's like every time I get gas, I fill it up. Every time, the moment that I get near empty, I fill it up every time. No more putting 20s, 40s. Like I put now it's fucking $100 because it's still gas is still high. But like, you know, I gotta do that every time. So
Oh Lord.
yeah, I know the gas prices. I don't care if it's went down a little bit, but still, man, that gas adds up, especially if you commute a lot.
Yeah.
Spend like over like $300 a month on gas.
Jesus.
Maybe
Christ.
even more.
Cause I got a Kia, bro. I got a Kia and a Honda. Bro, my Kia, I remember at one point it was 30 something to fill up. And right now it was like at 68. And I barely feel it. I was so sick. I said, it was like 68, 70. I said, oh, that was tough. I said, that's tough. That stings. Yeah. I said, but it's starting to go down a little bit because when I was in Texas and I had my Honda, bro, $20, bro. Fill it up. Gas was 105 or something like that. 105. Ridiculous. Bro, I was mobbing. I was going to Houston, all types of shit. Throw $10 in, I'm straight for the week. Like week and a half. Like not having to look at the gas station. I remember one time I filled up, it was like $22. Filled up, and I didn't have to go back to the gas station for 2 weeks and like 3 days, bro. Mm-hmm. I forgot about the gas station. Wow. And the only reason I remember is because I stopped to get something to snack on. And I just so happened to look, and I'm like, and I still had probably like 50 miles left. Mm-hmm. I'm like, oh, they got to do something. I said, oh, I miss those days. I miss it.
California, it really does pay to like live here. Yeah. I love California. Like I never really picture myself living anywhere else, but sometimes I'd be entertaining the idea of like moving to like Seattle or like Arizona or Vegas. But then it's like, you know, you have that attachment to your family, and you have these things that you want to do for the family, so it kind of keeps you like, at least for me, it keeps me like not going. But
also, you gotta understand, me living in different states, you gotta understand, you're paying to not deal with a lot of the shit the other states are dealing with. Like Texas alone, bro, in 3 years, I dealt with 2 hurricanes and 1 badass storm. Lord. You know what I'm saying? Like. And then the heat, don't get me started, like 110 with 100% humidity, bro. No. If it's something that feels like an oven, bro, that's it. Because, bro, like I'm talking about on the field and cleats are melting. Do you know how hot it has to be for your cleats to melt, bro?
Holy crap.
Do you know how hot the floor has to be? Bro, it was to the point where, like, when you're walking on the field, it's like it feels like you're stepping on, it's like the floor was an oven.
That's insane.
And it's painful. Like, you sitting there, but we had this thing called Colorado Circuit. So you gotta just go. You just gotta. So when we get on the field, you running the whole time. So we get on the field and it's 8 stations set up. I think it's 8 or 10 stations, and everyone's at a station. You start at a station and you just rotate. Oh no, we all start at one station and you just go to the next one, go to the next one, go to the next one. But everybody can't bend over. You can't put your hands on your knees. No nothing. Everybody has to stand up straight. If you bend over, you gotta start over. Like, so if anyone in the team, or any of the team bends over or falls down, gets on one knee. It gives you one warning. If you fuck up, start all over. But bro, niggas are getting to the point where they wanted to fight because, bro, it's hot. Humid. Cleats getting fucked up. Humid. Can't breathe. Like the air feel like you breathing in, goddamn, like flames down there. Lava. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta understand, like when we're here, we're paying for a lot of the shit. Like, even the gas prices, it's not that different a lot of the places. It might be, a 50-cent difference? Yeah. Like, be real. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, niggas really, I mean, people don't really, like, that's not that much bigger of a deal. And dealing with hurricanes, tornadoes, all this stuff. Yeah, it's a lot cheaper at other places when it comes to real estate, getting houses, stuff like that. But, you know, those houses can get damaged from these hurricanes, these tornadoes, these things, these natural disasters that do happen. You know what I'm saying? These blizzards, these cold fronts that happen. You know what I mean? So we're living in a place in California where, me personally, I didn't realize it until I got out there. Lived out there for a couple years and coming back, like, damn, like, we got it good. Like, especially the Woodward area, you know what I'm saying? Like, bro, we had it good as fuck. Especially where you were living, where I was living, you know what I'm saying? Like, I remember your house in the cul-de-sac. You know what I'm saying? That was a really nice house, bro. That was a dope crib. Oh, you had a pool?
Yeah, I had a pool. Yeah, I had a nice pool. Nice backyard. I forget about that.
Damn, I didn't even realize y'all had a pool.
Mm-hmm.
Cause I remember us playing Madden at your crib. But
Oh yeah.
I don't remember us ever swimming.
No.
That's crazy. You never invited nobody to go swimming.
That's
bro?
awkward.
Fuck you. No, but no, like but nah, for real, like it, that, you know, same thing with Texas, like yeah, like some places are open carry. That's the cool part too. Like going to some other place like Texas, like it's an open carry. So even though I don't have a license or I don't have my license to carry, I could still purchase a firearm, have a firearm over 18. You know what I mean? Over 21, you can have a handgun, but at 18, you can have an AR. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of weird, but everybody has a weapon to protect himself. You know what I mean? Like rightfully so.
Mm-hmm.
So but yeah, being in California, bro, I said it like once I first moved out there, like, oh, I want to live here I want to live in Texas one day. I think I would want to have property there, but I think I'm always gonna have a place in California, whether if it's here or San Diego, wherever. I gotta have a California spot, bro.
I do not want to hear that.
I want you to go experience, like, if you're gonna go to Vegas, because Vegas is this place. I'm definitely gonna have a property. I'm definitely 100%, especially the Raiders are out there now.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely gonna have a property in Vegas, within me and my family. That's probably one of the first investments I'll make when I go to the league. But no, like being in California is definitely a blessing. I don't want to be in the same area, like NorCal. I don't want to be in the same area my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I have to get out of NorCal.
Right.
Yeah. Whether if I live in SoCal, that's why I said San Diego. But it's definitely, it's everybody knows Cali is lit. That's the only, some people only know America. They'll be like, oh, I want to go to California.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's the first thing they say.
Right,
I mean?
yeah. See, I feel like we don't realize how good we have it, too, sometimes. I have to remind myself. And then hearing you, it's kind of like, damn, that's true. That's the reason why I haven't moved either.
Yeah.
Like, I have an attachment to a family, but I feel like that's not enough. Like, I feel like if I really wanted to leave, I would have left. Mm-hmm. But I just love California.
Yeah. There's a lot of good spots out there, though. Mm-hmm. Within Washington, Texas is amazing. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I had nothing but good experiences in Texas, besides the hurricanes.
Yeah, I'm not about that stuff.
Yeah.
What's funny? I talked to you about this earlier, and I did want to catch your thought about it. Like, especially traveling and being in, like, other cities, other states, being around, like, other people as well. Like, how do you feel when other races, like, say the N-word?
There are two things about that. One, everybody, was raised different. Some people are accustomed of saying it, whatever. I do feel some type of way when somebody does use it. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, it depends on how they use it. Like, if someone's introducing me into the family, like, oh, this is my nigga B-Dab, like, I'll never take offense to it. But when niggas are talking, like, when people talk about, like, me and, like, oh, this nigga, like, that's when I'm like, it kind of rubbed me wrong. But two, I don't want somebody to have power over me, like, all I gotta say is this word, and I can get him to react, or maybe punch me or whatever, where I can press charges, or I could like, say they're trying to lure you in, like they're trying to say the word, so I can do something to react, so they can say it's self-defense and do something to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want nobody to have that much leverage. Like, yeah, it bothers me in a way, depending on the context of them using it, but I feel like it's all backed by, like, their intentions when they're using it. You know what I mean? Like, if I don't know you, if we ain't cool, like, don't use it to refer to me. You know what I'm saying? But my nigga Juan, Juan talk about me, like, yeah, that's my nigga. Like, yeah, that's my nigga be there. Like, I ain't tripping. You know what I'm saying? But it all just depends on the context.
That's exactly how I feel about, like, certain words, especially because I remember being, like, young or elementary, and I used to be triggered by words like wetback or beaner or stuff like this, and I used to, like, get so upset. And I remember kind of getting the realization too, is like, I don't want to give somebody that much power over a word. Yeah. At the end of the day, I will always correct it if it needs to, if it's disrespectful, if I feel uncomfortable, like, hey, you can't be saying that type of stuff in that type of context, because it just doesn't feel right. And I'll let my presence be known and be direct. And if they want to keep saying that, that's fine, but I'm going to just move. Like, I just got to get out of the way, or else I'm going to get myself emotionally charged and do something that I know I'm going to regret, especially off of just a word. Like, I think that's so true. You see a lot of people get, like, trapped and, like, set up by, like, saying certain trigger words to then encourage you to, like, act off of action and, do something physically to harm somebody, and then you end up getting sued or a charge. and then they defend themselves by saying, well, it was just a word or blah 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 blah. But I think that's so true. It's like you don't want to give somebody that much power behind a word.
Like if this dude calls me a bitch, like if someone calls me a bitch, I don't care. Like I'll throw it all away and I'll go to jail behind that. Like, like, bro, you got kids, you got a whole family, bro. Like you're basically saying like this word's gonna put you're gonna put your pride above your whole family. You supporting your family, you supporting your kids, you seeing your kids, like, or put you in a position to where you can't succeed because somebody disrespects you or your pride. When someone puts their hands on you, everything's out the window because you're, at the end of the day, you're protecting yourself.
Yeah, right.
But if somebody's using words like, oh, you're a bitch, like yada yada yada, okay, like you're not gonna prove me one. You can say anything that you want to say, but you're not gonna touch me. If that happens, then you know what I'm saying. Then it could get physical. But other than that, like, hey, God bless you. You know what I'm saying? Like, because at the end of the day, like, majority of people are just gonna talk. They're just gonna talk out the side of their ass. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I feel like that's one thing I learned too, is like the people that talk the most, especially that try to like be confrontational, are the same ones that just haven't got punched in the mouth. And sometimes you gotta be that person to do it if they get in that bubble. But to me, it's like I've walked away a lot. I've walked away from a lot of stuff. Like somebody would try to either holler at your girl or somebody would try to be disrespectful towards you or say something. There's a lot of times where I walked away. It was like, and I had to realize like the best advice I got with fighting was like to not get into a fight. The best advice was that, like, the best thing you could do within a situation was to not fight. Because you hit somebody, they hit their head on the concrete, they could die, or they hit you, you might die. Everybody gets caught. The best fighters get caught. You can have all the confidence in the world that you be able to handle yourself, but all it takes is one shot that you don't see happening, or somebody behind you that you don't even know. Just, you get hit right in the back of the head and you concussion, brain dead or something. Like, that's one of the best things I've ever heard was like, the best advice is just to not get in the fight. Like, remove yourself from that. Now, you can walk away. You can always walk away.
Thanks.
Obviously, if they get into that circle, they try to, get closer to you or try to harm you physically, then by all means protect yourself. Do what you got to do. But if you can avoid it, leave. And that's a hard thing to say because it's hard to just, remove yourself without pride and ego getting in your head and saying like, oh, you're going to let somebody talk to you like that? Like, like how you just said earlier too. I've heard this from like 80% of the people was like, oh, I'm not going to let somebody to disrespect me like that or talk to me like this. Like, I'm going to go like fuck him up. Like, I'm going to go fight him or I'm going to go do something about it. And then you end up seeing that it ends up being always terrible results. Whether you win the fight or you lose, like either you get charged or, murder or something like that, or some type of, you break somebody's jaw or you break your hand and you're an athlete or like your job requires you to have your hands and now you're out of work for 6 months and you're not making no money based off of an emotional reaction. So it's kind of like you have to really evaluate, like, is this worth it? You know what I mean? Like, is this the smartest thing to do? And that's hard to let ego and pride down and just walk away. That's something, like, I respect people who actually do that more than the people that are always fighting.
Because it's like, I forgot who said this quote where they were saying, like, a wise man isn't someone who isn't capable of protecting himself. A wise man is someone who has a harness on what they're capable of and choose not to harm anyone or something like that. Something along those lines. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you could kick this dude's ass, but what is it going to do for you? It's going to start more problems than not, unless it gets physical. You know what I mean? Like, or confrontational, to the point to where it's like he's putting his hands on you or somebody, you know what I mean? In your family or somebody you're with, you know what I'm saying? So, to piggyback on what you said, just walking away or just letting it go. Like, if it's not you, someone's gonna punch that person in the mouth. You know what I'm saying? One way or another, or they're gonna run into the wrong person. You know what I mean? Don't like ruin your day just because someone else is miserable. Because misery loves company. So if that person is looking for someone throughout the whole day, he's trying to trigger somebody. Like, I want to fight somebody today.
Right.
They're gonna find someone. You know what I mean? Like, but you don't have to give them, what they want. Just because they're not living the life that they want, or they're miserable about something that's happened.
Yeah, I am paraphrasing, but there's like this like great quote. It's like you want to be the warrior in the garden, not the gardener in the
Mm-hmm.
war, or something like that. Like I
Mm-hmm.
always like love that quote too. It's like you want to be able to know how to defend yourself, know how to talk your way out of a situation, at
Mm-hmm.
the same time be able to be delicate and vulnerable and be yourself. It's like that great quote that I remember like Dave Chappelle's mom told him, like was like sometimes you have to be the lion to be the lamb that you really are.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have to sometimes step into that role and set the boundaries, and sometimes move with an alpha type of energy to then be yourself. Like
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you have to do that with certain people. Like some people are not as you know understanding of tapping into who they really are. Some people want to have this persona of like I'm a badass, like
Mm-hmm.
I could beat everybody up. That's one thing I know. Like you should be confident in like the way you can handle yourself. You should be confident in your, your striking or your grappling or your pride or your power. But you also have to know too that you could get fucked up any day. Somebody's gonna be stronger, better than you. Somebody's gonna have more skills than you, and you have to be humble. That's why I feel like you want to always remove yourself and not get into a fight, because you don't know what somebody's capable of. They don't know what you're capable of. And what's the, oh man, I heard this great thing, like, oh yeah, what's it called, you play stupid games, you get stupid rewards. So you get in a fight, yeah, you win the fight, but guess what, now you're in jail.
Yeah.
Yeah, congratulations, you won. Yeah, so I love that. Yeah, you play stupid games, you get stupid rewards. So I absolutely love that shit. Like, and it's so true too. It's like, sometimes you have to like let go of that ego. Which is hard to do, but it's completely worth it for the long term of where you're trying to go and where you're trying to be.
Yeah. So now that we're on the topic of ego, when it comes to relationships or maybe your career, anything like that, do you believe that ego plays a big part in the success or failures of those things, like when it comes to relationships or your career?
Yeah, I think ego is like one of the most like double sword analogies I can use. Like you can use ego as a way of like motivation, or ego can be used in a way of like, destruction. Like ego could be the fall of you, especially if you don't know how to balance and test and analyze when ego is being too much involved. Like you see a lot of people, especially like this is just an example, it's not the only thing, but like being a police officer. If your ego is so high because you have a gun and a badge on you and you're supposed to be respected and you are there to protect the community and you're a good guy against the bad guys, you have that philosophy, ego gets a lot in the way of like, you don't even want to have a conversation. I'll pull that gun out and shoot you here right now. Like, I don't need to conversate with you. I need you to not do this instead of trying to understand somebody. So ego can like be destructive, and ego can be also used to have that confidence in yourself too. It's like, knowing that you have the capability to do whatever you want and whatever you can with the best intentions to then put yourself to grow in whatever field that is. So it's like ego is like the downfall of a lot of people, and also what helps uplift a lot of people to put themselves in position. So for me, it's like you have to have that balance. Everybody has ego. There's no way in hell that an intrusive thought or any type of thought doesn't come into your mind that's ego driven, or something that you're doing is ego driven. Like that's the reason why we also survive too, is ego. And whether it's good or bad, like sometimes it helps you like accelerate in your life too. So it's kind of like you always just got to check your ego. Like, check if it's too much ego. Am I not listening? Do I think I'm right? You should never feel that you're right, like all the way. You always want to test the ideas and make sure you're right, not just, oh, I'm right. And when somebody tries to like have a conversation of whatever you feel that you're fully knowledgeable in, if you don't open up that door to test your ideas, then ego is going to be the downfall, because somebody else is going to be more open and they're going to surpass you because you're so ego driven of like, I'm right. And this person's like, well, am I right? And then he just boom, 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 connections, building network. And then you're just one way path, and the yes men are always around you. Like ego also brings a lot of yes men, like, oh yeah, you're right. But a lot of times you're wrong, and they're just scared to tell you.
Yeah.
So it's like you have to be very like mindful of ego.
Yeah, facts. And ego, like I like what you said about ego can be a a double edged sword because like with me, like when I'm in the weight room and I'm lifting a weight that maybe heavy as hell, you know what I mean? Or I'm doing a workout and I don't feel like it. In my head, I'm like telling myself, "You a bad motherfucker. You better finish this. Like you ain't no bitch. Like finish this workout. Keep grinding. Like days I don't want to get up and go work out, or like if I'm in a game and like pre-snap, I'm looking at the other person like motherfucker, I'm better than you. You know what I'm saying? I'll run through your face, like I'll guard you. Yada. Like in my head, I'm like, you're not fucking with me. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, when it comes to like critiquing my game or like me in my career, like I'm always humble and I always listen to that critique, because you know what I'm saying, like you can always learn something. I forgot where I read this, but you can always learn something from everybody, even if someone that maybe not be as good as you, or maybe somebody who went down another path than you. You can always learn, like, okay, he did this mistake, he did this wrong, he did this right, he did this right. I'm taking all that in and honing in on that, like, okay, that's how I will, that's I learned from that. I'm not gonna make that decision. You know what I'm saying? So the ego, it's like, it you have to, it you can use it, but at the same time you have to, humble yourself when the right opportunity presents itself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you have to always like realign yourself to having that beginner's mindset too. Like, and that's one of the hardest things. That's why like you can't teach like an old dog new tricks with some people. Some people like tend to not want to be a learner again because of what it takes. Like you have to mess up. You have to be judged at times. People are gonna test you. Like, do you really want to do this? And then you also making mistakes and you're doubting yourself, and you have to like put yourself in that sometimes to learn new things, or else you're never going to grow. And sometimes ego will get in the way of like, I'm good at this and I only want to do this and I don't want to learn anything else. And that's fine too. Depends, right, on the person. Like if you're like the Michael Jordan, basketball is all, or the Kobe's, and you go from having that ego. I'm sure it's not ego, right? Because I know it's not just all that, but like if you're ego driven within something that you became very successful with, I believe you could also do that towards business or something like that. But they also have a humility of being open to listen, to then have that beginner's mindset, to then grow and see, okay, I see what you're saying. Like I'm doing it this way, I'm not getting these results, these numbers aren't going up, so maybe I should try that. And then boom, it works. Like you have to have that beginner's mindset, because if you don't, then you're gonna keep hitting the same wall thousands of times when the door's right on the right side of you.
Yeah, facts. I don't want to. Nah, bro. Like you're not on my level. I can't. I can't take advice from you, or oh, bro. I can't. Nah, I can't listen to you. Like you ain't even got your shit straight. Yeah. You can always learn from somebody. I like that beginner's mindset. Beginner's mindset. I like that. I feel like a lot of people can take that in and use that to their advantage. Whether it's a position or whatever they're trying to pursue. I feel like once you humble yourself and you sit back and you're like, okay, like, let me take in all this information that is offered. Like, no matter what the background, what the person is, let me take in all this information and apply it to myself so I can be as successful as I can be with all this information that's offered to me. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
But yeah, man, I think that's gonna wrap it up for us for this episode, bro. I appreciate you and all your input. Appreciate you guys for tapping in with us. Like we've been saying for weeks on, we appreciate you guys for supporting us, helping, our TikTok, IG, everything, blow up. And, we thank you guys for constantly and consistently being there for us. We appreciate you guys, and we'll see you guys next weekend on Self Revelations Podcast.
Sheesh.